Hi YouTube, it's Kyger1324 here, back today with another top list video. I spent last night doing a lot of top list videos. I've got quite a few things to come with top list. In fact, I have done my top 100 favourite games of all time list actually, and I will be doing part 1 of that today at some point. But up first, we're doing something a little nostalgic for me. It is the top 12. Yes, 12. I couldn't get 15, and I thought of two more. I was going to do 10, but I thought of two more. The top 12 memorable websites for me. Yes, we're going to go back and do a little bit of a nostalgia trip for me, and maybe for you as well. I used to use the internet quite a lot as a kid. Well, when I say kid, I mean starting secondary school, that sort of time, between secondary school to my first year of college. So between the ages of 13 to maybe 17, maybe 18 even. But we only had one computer back in the day, and it used to be in my mum and dad's room, so going on the internet was a privilege for us. Since I had three brothers, and there was four of us, and obviously my mum and dad, going on the internet was something that I couldn't do as much as I can now. I mean, nowadays I can go on my laptop whenever I want, and my brother's got his computer, and my younger brother's got his tablet. My older brother don't live here anymore, and my mum and dad have tablets and phones and stuff like that. And I do use my phone mainly for social media and stuff like that, and for my laptop I mainly use things like YouTube and just watching stuff. Some of these websites I'm gonna have to visit again because it's nostalgia for me. But yeah, going on these websites as a kid or teenager or whatever you want to say, just was what I used to do. I never used to go out, and I probably still don't, to be honest. The only places I really go are out on my own to go to shops and maybe with a friend sometime, but that's about it. So we're going to start off with number 12. Is Facebook. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Really? Facebook is still around now. Why is it memorable? Well, believe it or not, when I was in school, I believe it was between year 7 and 8, everyone was talking about Facebook. And I used to think to myself, what is Facebook? I never had Facebook. I didn't know what it was. Until, I can't remember, I think it was a few years later. I didn't really get Facebook until like year 9, year 10. So I got Facebook quite late and compared to everyone else. But for me, Facebook is memorable for quite a few reasons. I used to go, of course, on a desktop site, and obviously I use Facebook on my phone now, but I don't use it for nearly as much as what I used to do. I remember using it years ago and talking to all these different people, having loads of people talking to, of course playing Facebook games, not the games now where they're all similar games like Dragon City, Bubble Witch Saga, that sort of stuff, Candy Crush Saga. I used to play games like Yoville and Farmville and Petville and stuff like the Ville games. Well, not so much Farmville, but games like Yoville, which I don't think are around anymore. At least I don't think they are. And it's just memorable to me because of all the memories I have on Facebook back in the day, playing on the desktop site and just doing so much with it. Of course, I still use it, but nowhere near as much. I hardly talk to anyone anymore on Facebook, other than my brothers, my fiance, and a couple of mates. That's about it, really. But of course, using Facebook is memorable to me because if it wasn't, I have to give this a little shout out, at least on my list, because if it wasn't for Facebook, I would have never met my fiance. So I do owe it a lot, and obviously it has been the bane of my existence as well. It has caused a lot of problems for me, which is, memorable. But of course now I don't use Facebook for nearly as much as what I used to. But I thought I'd just give it put it on this list somewhere. Number 11, Yahoo. Yes, Yahoo. Again, this site is still around. I don't know if I should have put this before Facebook, but I don't know. these aren't necessarily in like super order. These are just 12 memorable sites. Yeah, Yahoo is a site obviously well known. It's a news site. It's a search engine. It's that sort of stuff. But memorable for me because when I had that one computer, Yahoo was our homepage. And I used to use Yahoo mainly for emails and stuff. But I did used to do things like instant message and stuff like that. Not that much, but I did have it. And I think I still do now, to be honest, but I don't use it. Of course, I have a Yahoo email still, but obviously I don't use the Yahoo site. I have an application on my phone that has it's My Mail, which has a bunch of email services you can get in one. And I just thought I'd put a Yahoo on here because it was memorable somewhat to me and reminiscent. Of course, it's still around today, but I don't use it that often. Number 10. This is one that I did use a lot. MSN. I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, are you on about the app or the website? The app. I know technically it's not a website, but you had to use the website in order to get it. MSN was a instant messaging, well, I guess you could say application, but it was a website as well. Basically, MSN is what Skype is today. There was like MSN and AIM Messenger because some people had AOL. Yeah, AOL. I remember my mate had that. I had so much memories of MSN. In fact, I used MSN all the way up until my first year of college. And that just goes to show that it was quite big. I didn't really... I know Skype sort of is the mainstream now. But MSN, I remember a lot of fond memories of talking to people on MSN, using webcam, that sort of stuff. It was, it was fun to do. I do use Skype now, but I only really use Skype to, Skype with my fiance at night when she's home from work. That's about it, really. But MSN, was the shit back in the day, and it deserves a little shout out. Number 9 is a website called, I don't know how it's pronounced, but I used to call it Weeble stuff or Weebly stuff. It was a site that is weird. It was a weird site and it just had a bunch of weird little animations on there. It was just like animations and shorts and stuff like that. All these old animations like the badger, mushroom, that sort of stuff. It had all of that, and I used to use this site quite a lot and watch all these weird animations. In fact, I'm going to have a quick look and see if this website still exists. But I used to use it so much. If you're wondering what I mean, I've got my laptop here because my lists are on my OneNote thing, so I don't have a piece of paper or anything. But I used to use this site quite a lot because it was just so much fun to watch these animations. And a lot of well-known internet characters were from Weeble stuff or Weeble stuff. I used to call it Weeble stuff. But it was a funny website, but it was very weird. And I don't know. I'm waiting for it to load because I want to see if this thing still exists. And if it does, I'm gonna be very happy, but my laptop's very slow. Yeah, it still exists. It's called Weeble stuff. If I can show you, but it's nowhere near. This is not the Weeble stuff I used to know. Nah, this is. Like got things like Narwhal, stuff like that. I'll try and show you the site. Sorry, I've got a cup of tea in my hand. This is what the site is now. Nah, this isn't. I'm glad it still exists, but it's nowhere near as what good as what I remember it. So. It's trying to. It was a good site for its time, watching all these things like, but. I watch things like, you remember, like salad fingers and stuff on here, but it's nowhere near as what it used to be. But I'm thinking, because I remember I had like Weeble and Bob were the original, but well, at least it has all the old stuff on here, which is pretty cool. It has all the old animations on here, which I'm happy, like Mr. Stabby and stuff like that. It had like these weird games on here, and the Cheese Family. Again, it's I don't know if you can hear this, but I'll show you the badger thing because this is what I remember most from it. I remember that. But yeah, I do remember that website very much. Unfortunately, it has changed a lot, so the nostalgia's gone. But I went on too much about this website. Let's move on to the next one. We have number 8, Stick Page. No, it's not a website about sticks. It's about stick men. Yes, you remember stick men? Those little characters, the circle, like that. Stick Page was a website dedicated to stickmen animation. That was something I used to love watching, were these cool little animations. And stickmen animations were some of my favourite. There was things like Zhao Zhao, I believe he was called. Animator versus Animation. So many cool like animations, and it still exists today. The website still exists today, and it's somewhat similar to what it used to be. So I'm glad this still exists. Again, these sites still exist, most of them, but a lot of them have changed a lot, which is a shame. But Stick Page was a site that I used to go on quite a bit and watch these little animations, and it was so much fun to watch these. They're still pretty good to watch today, and obviously I'm gonna go through and watch some of these old stuff as memories. Number 7, Cheat Planet. This isn't a website that's about cheating on your girlfriend or anything like that. No, Cheat Planet is a website that was used for game cheats. If you had any Grand Theft Auto games, I guarantee you probably used Cheat Planet without knowing. Cheat Planet is what basically IGN, Games Radar, that sort of stuff is today. And I don't know if this website still exists, but I used to use Cheat Planet quite a lot as a kid and having fond memories of it because I used to use it for games like Grand Theft Auto, Sims, so many games I used it for. I think it's changed now to Games Radar. But again, it was a website that I used to use quite a lot. You probably have used it, because if you've had Grand Theft Auto, you probably used it. And no, it don't exist anymore. It's Games Radar. Yeah, Cheat Planet's gone. There's one called Planet Cheats, but that's not the one that I used to use. I believe it was owned by Games Radar, but I think it's gone now. So, oh well, Cheat Planet, I remember it, used to use it quite a lot. Number 6, Habbo Hotel. Yes, Habbo Hotel. I didn't really socialise a lot with people in real life. I used to do it all on the computer. I know people say, well, you've got things like Xbox Live and stuff like that now, but Habbo Hotel was a social game. Basically, you were these sort of like pixels in a sort of isometric view. You probably know what I'm talking about. You can play this game still today. It still exists. In fact, you can play it on your phone and stuff, which seems okay. I haven't tried it out myself. but I used to play this game so much back in the day. I used to just do like games in it. Used to sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I used to play games on it. I used to do like socializing with people. In fact, a lot of people that I met through on MSN were and Facebook back in the day were through Habbo, and I know now Habbo is nowhere near as what it used to be. There's a lot of censoring on it now because a lot of people use it to get people's Skypes and stuff and do like Skype sex and stuff like that. There's a lot of issues with Habbo now, and there always has been because there's no like control on it. But obviously they are trying to censor it out, so you can't type your email in or you can't ask for Skypes and stuff like that. But there's a lot of that on there, and I remember that quite a bit. But I used to play Habbo quite a lot, and it's memorable to me. Fun little social game. It's similar to maybe things like IMVU, that sort of stuff. But you know what people use those things for now. Number 5 is a website called Addicting Games. I used to play Flash games so much because, again, as a kid, we only had that one computer, and if someone was on the PlayStation or something or watching TV, I couldn't do that. I had to go play my games elsewhere, and Flash games were the shit, and they still are. That Flash games have gotten better and better. But I remember using a website called Addicting Games. It was one of the few Flash game websites that if you type in Flash games, Addicting Games will come up, and it was very memorable to me. I used to use that one quite a lot, and it's still around today. In fact, I have it bookmarked because I definitely want to go back and play some Flash games at some point. But a very memorable site to me. Number 4 is Roblox. Again, it's like that MSN. It's a website, but it also requires a download. Roblox is basically a free-to-play. Again, it's a social game, but it isn't. It's more of a. It's sort of like a cross between maybe something like Lego and Minecraft. Well, Roblox came before Minecraft, so it's basically you're like these little Lego characters sort of thing, and you have to do. The creativity is amazing. You can play games that people have created. You can talk to people, stuff like that. It's still going today. In fact, I might have to download it again at some point and play it. It's mainly aimed towards younger people, but obviously, if you're just playing it to mess around on it and play games, it's no issues. I mean, again, you have to be a bit funny with these websites because you know they're aimed towards younger kids, so there might be some pretty shady people on there. But if you want to play Roblox, go ahead and play it. If you're a bit older, just don't talk on it. Just play the game. Yeah, it was such a fun game to play back in the days. To play things like obstacle courses, survive the disasters, that sort of stuff. Really fun game, and I used to like the tycoon ones on there. I remember Roblox quite a lot. Number 3 is Miniclip, another Flash game website. Probably the most well-known Flash game website. I remember everyone wanting to use this one in school, and we used to get these proxies sent to each other's emails so we could play. Basically, a proxy was a website. Sort of like a web. Well, I don't exactly know what it was, but it basically allowed you to go on the internet without any people the school blocking it, and we'd always get them. There was always one person who knew how to get them and send them to each other. And Miniclip was always one that people used to go on a lot. Miniclip is still around today and is pretty much more of the same, but Miniclip was a very memorable website and still is today. But not as memorable as this next one, which is number 2, Funny Games. I'm not talking about the movie, I'm talking about a website called Funny Games. I know the games, it says the games are meant to be funny, but Funny Games was another Flash game website. And surprisingly, this is the only website out of all of these websites that haven't changed that much. It's very similar to what it used to be. There's a few features on there, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. and that's why it's so high on this list. It was one of my main websites for playing Flash games, and it's so high on this list because obviously it hasn't changed that much, and I do remember it, and it will definitely be a website I'm going on soon. Don't type in Funny Games 18. That's the adult version of that website. Don't do it. If you're over 18, you can, but don't do it if you're not. Number one is, of course, it's gonna. If you know me, it's Newgrounds. Newgrounds, similar to maybe Weeble stuff and Miniclip. It's a compilation, a website that's just for the people, from the people. I believe it was for the people, by the people, something like that. Newgrounds is one of the most memorable websites I ever used to go on. It had so much stuff on it. Games, animations, music, art, everything. Again, it has some adult stuff on there, but what website doesn't? I used to use Newgrounds so much, and one of my most memorable things on Newgrounds was Madness. Madness is like a sort of animated series where people go around shooting each other. They have these. It's normally in grey, and they have these weird bodies, and they have this circle head with a cross in the middle. I remember used to draw them all the time in school, and you definitely have to get back into watching it because Madness was so awesome. It was just like the best. It was my shit. Newgrounds is the shit. For the people, by the people. I think it was, I can't remember, but I love Newgrounds. It's still around today. The website's very different to what it used to be, but the principle's the same. Newgrounds, fantastic. I'll go through the top 12, just run over again. 12 was Facebook, 11 Yahoo, 10 MSN, 9 Weeble stuff, 8 Stick Page, 7 Cheap Planet, 6 Habbo, 5 Addicting Games, 4 Roblox, 3 Miniclip, 2 Funny Games, and number 1 the King of the Jungle, Newgrounds. Alright. Okay. That was my top 12 most memorable websites. Of course, looking at these websites, I'll definitely be going on these websites again at some point. I'm sorry I couldn't really show you these websites in more detail, but if I was, my brother told me it's not that hard to show what's on my screen, but obviously I'm trying to learn, so, but if I have time, well, I definitely will have time, I'll be doing my top 100 games of all time, or favourite games. The way I'll probably do it is I'll probably do it like from like 100 to 75, 74 to 50, 49 to 25, and then obviously, you know, 24 to 1, that sort of thing. I'll probably do it in 4 parts. It is a very good list, but obviously it was very weird for me because I had to keep going back and changing stuff and going, oh no, that one shouldn't be on there, that one. It was a pain in the arse to do it, but I did it. So I'll upload this video, and then when this one is done, I will do that. But until then, I might play some Binary Domain, which is my next game on my list, up there. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If any of these websites meant anything to you, please leave a comment below. Maybe tell me your top memorable websites. It'll be interesting to see if we have some similar tastes. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in my top 100 games of all time video. Thank you.